Hello and welcome to this evening's stream on the Nerdsmith network for our 2019 sub drive. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be an exciting and haunting evening. Promises to be a lot of fun. I think we'll start off by introducing our players. If we want to go around, I don't know what order we're in Zoom, so I'll just call on each of you to introduce yourself, introduce where we can find you on the social media space, and we'll talk about your characters very briefly before we go into the particulars of the game. Caden, why don't you start us off?
Thanks, I hate it. Hi, my name is Caden. You can find me at Fatebound Night on Twitter and on Instagram. I post a lot of artwork and cosplay. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a dude. What else do you want from me?
Your character for the session?
Right. So I'm playing Spoon. His name is Spoon, and he's just, doing his best.
And he's a ghost.
He's a spooky boy. Yeah, he's a ghost.
Spoiler alert, they're all ghosts.
Spoiler alert,
And Finch, how about you next?
Hello. My name is Finch. I am on Twitter at Killer Caffeine. You can also find me on the Twitch streaming art and D&D on Wednesdays and Thursdays at The Painted Dragon. I'm playing Clyde. He is a disembodied skull, and yeah. And just spoilers, he's dead too. So, yeah.
Dang, that seems to be a rough thing that's happening to. It's something in the air. Lindy.
Yes, hi, I'm Lindy. I am Laugh Love Lindy on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. I play in /DM about a dozen or so tabletop RPGs a week, so you can call me a bit of an addict. I'm really excited for the system as it's my first time playing, and I will be playing Violet, the little girl ghost. Spoilers, she's dead too. So yeah, she's ready to go.
Go where? The afterlife.
Yeah, haunting.
And Ashley, last but not least.
Hi, I'm Ashley. You can find me at Young Jemison on Twitter. I play Plot Hunters on Saturday nights, and today I'm going to be playing Hester, the old lady who is dead.
Spoiler.
So, spoilers out of the way. We are playing, this is a sad place where ghosts live. It's a one-page, one-shot RPG available at DriveThruRPG by Ursidae. I forgot already, I'm sorry. I'll look it up, and I'll properly attribute that towards the later portions of the episode. But it is a fun system. It is available at DriveThruRPG. It's in the same vein as Honey Heist or Big Gay Space Rocks. Those types of games, they're a lot of fun. Yeah, Caden, I knew I'd get your attention with that.
I'm piqued interest right now.
Oh, you haven't peaked yet. You're still young. It's fine.
I said the words in the wrong order. Leave me alone.
Never. So we're going to be doing that. It is the Nerdsmith sub drive, so we'll talk about that for a little bit. Every subscription that we get for the sub drive, either through Twitch or through nerdsmith.org/sub drive, goes to support artists on the network, such as myself and such as Ashley and Caden, who is part of Countless Heroes. It goes towards supporting the artists and helping us do this, create awesome entertainment that you can enjoy with friends, family, loved ones, even your most bitter rival. You can still enjoy entertainment with them. One hopes. So we go to nerdsmith.org/sub drive, and we have lots of different subscription options. We have our $10 a month sidekick tier, which gets you 50% off of Nerd Alerts. And Nerd Alerts are a shout out that we'll do on the air for one of our shows, one of our characters, up to 30 seconds worth of stuff that you can have us read live on the air. That, let's say that you want my character Rupert from Wand Radio to say thank you and love you to your loved ones, or I wish that you were not my enemy to your enemies, something along those lines. I'm not selling this very well, but we'll do that for 50% off. There's also a 2019 subscriber exclusive enamel pin, which the design is yet to be announced, but it plans to be super punny and super pretty. It'll be a hard enamel pin. That'll be good. You also get access to all of the bonus content on the network from every show. So please enjoy that. There are right around 30 pieces of bonus content, but new pieces of bonus content are coming out all the time. So there's going to be new stuff that's constantly released, and you get access to that for the year. You also get exclusive access to a channel on our public Discord server, information down below in the doobly-doo. And you're ranked there. Then the next step up is the champion tier, which is $20 a month. You get everything that the sidekicks get. You also get a free Nerd Alert, so not just the 50% off discount, but a free one. You also get a metal D20 from Die Hard Dice, which is one of our network sponsors, purveyors of fantabulous metal dice and plastic dice and dice trays and other products. They're phenomenal. They're great. Go check them out, dieharddice.com. You get a free D20 from them. You also get a PDF download of the 2019 Creator Cookbook, which all of the most of the creators on the network contributed towards the cookbook, and we'll have a lot of recipes. It is curated and edited by my character Pip, who is a renowned chef within the world that he lives in. So it only felt fitting to get his opinions on the foods. You get also access to another exclusive Discord channel just for champions. Our next tier up is the Superstar. It is $35 a month. We love you very much if you choose Superstar. We love you whatever level you choose, but Superstars are amazing. You get all of the Sidekick and Champion rewards. You also get a Nerdsmith mug, which promises to be very beautiful as well. You get a physical copy as well as a digital copy of the Nerdsmith cookbook. And let's see what else we got. You also get access to an exclusive channel on our Discord server. Now, if any of those are outside of your budget, we understand completely. We still appreciate your support. We have a minion pledge at $5 per month. You get access to all of our exclusive bonus content, and you get exclusive access to a Discord server. We love you. Regardless of what you choose to support us at, or if you choose not to support us, you can still show your support on social media by tweeting about Subdrive 2019 or following us on Twitch or on YouTube, any one of the channels, following us on Twitter. Anything is great. We appreciate it greatly. So now that my spiel is done for the network, let's get into this. This is a sad place where ghosts live. 428 Hollowbrook Street is much like any other tenement building in a city near you. Lots of families, lots of lives, they come and go, and some end, and some are just beginning. Many of the families within 428 have lived here for a while. Some have just moved in, looking to start a new life. Others are possibly seeking to escape something from their past. Something that they don't know, except the landlady. She suspects. Not all is as it seems in 428 Hollowbrook Lane. For this building is haunted by those you see here. These spirits, while not necessarily the vengeful or violent type, want to move on to the great beyond, to whatever comes next. They're tired of not remembering where they came from or wondering what's going to happen next. So their objective this evening is to bring joy into the lives of specific residents within 428 Hollowbrook Lane. Not necessarily all of them, but perhaps the ones that they have the closest interactions with. Maybe they used to live in the rooms that these residents currently reside in. Maybe they had a personal relationship in their past lives. We don't know. Perhaps we're not meant to. But let's find out. And I have to switch windows real quick. Bear with me. Loading. Our first scene. An older gentleman, middle-aged, Sigmund. The sides of his hair are slightly graying. There's laugh lines on his eyes and frown lines on the lower part of his face. He's reading a bedtime story. Odd to do so for a teenager, but his son, Xander, loves bedtime stories. He's reading him a bedtime story to help him fall asleep in this new apartment building that they have really not yet explored. They haven't met all of their neighbors. They've met a few. The friendlier ones bring over a casserole or a pie or, a thank you, welcome to the neighborhood. They know the landlady, of course, because they have to pay her. But there's something in their hearts that is missing, and that is joy. Who would care to interact with this family first?
I remembered the push to talk. I think Violet would. She'd be definitely interested in the bedtime story for sure that's going on.
Okay.
She's a little girl herself. So.
All right. So you're interested in the bedtime story. How do you show this interest? How do you express yourself?
I think she's going to try to, in her little ghost form, kind of try to sit on the bed next to Xander and kind of just listen along. Interested.
Okay.
She forgets she's dead sometimes. That happens.
That, sometimes it's hard to... That line between the living and the dead seems blurred, especially in this building for some reason. So I believe that you are attempting to apparate. You are attempting to appear in the physical world. So let's go ahead and have you roll a 20-sided dice and let us know the result.
16.
A 16. So what happens here is, as the hunter is in the woods seeking the tiger that has been plaguing his village, you appear with your hands on your knees and your elbows on your knees, and your hands on your chin, just staring rapt at the words on the page. You are able to communicate a few words to this father and son duo. So you will get, in game terms, there will be 1 repercussion and 2 developments.
Awesome. I think she'd just say, "This is a great story."
Okay. Which would you like to determine first? Your repercussion or your development?
Let's do the repercussion first. That sounds fun.
Alrighty, then you are going to go ahead and roll a d6.
4.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now, this is a startling experience because this father and son have never seen a ghost before, let alone a adorable little girl, especially in the son's bedroom on the edge of the bed. So what's going to happen next is it's going to be more difficult to impart joy or make somebody happy for the next roll, which is going to happen right now. Go ahead and roll a d6 for your first development.
5.
5. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And then that gets a 6. All right, here we go. Now let's go ahead and see this. We're going to go ahead and read the rules a little bit, just so everybody's aware of what's going on. When an action creates positive or negative influence between the residents, a resident may impart joy or sadness, or instill courage or fear in another resident. So these residents are actually going to be influencing each other just as much as the ghosts are influencing them. A positive influence imparts joy or instills courage. A negative influence imparts sadness or instills fear. I forgot to talk about the objective of this game. The objective is to get everybody fully happy, fully joyful, living, the joie de vivre in this appropriate instance. The end result is going to be that they pass on into the afterlife. The ghosts pass on to the afterlife. The opposite effect, on the other hand, is fear. If the residents of the building are so afraid that they can no longer operate, who are they going to call? I think you know. So if the result is above the person's attribute, then the influence has no effect. If the resident score in the attribute is 6, then the influence is automatically successful. If the resident score is 0, then the influence is automatically a failure. On a success, move a point in the desired direction for the receiving resident. So, Violet, which resident are you attempting to influence?
Let's say Xander.
Xander, so the kid. All right. And since you rolled a 6, it is not successful because it was more difficult to do because it added difficulty from your previous interaction. Repercussion is known. So let's see. And you do get one more development. So let's see what happens if you are attempting to influence Xander or Sigmund.
I got a 1.
You got a 1. All right. Still influencing Xander?
Yep.
All right. So because of this, finding the sheet again. All right. Xander almost reflexively turns to you and says, "Yeah, I know, right?" And then kind of startles because he realizes that you're a ghost. But you see on the corner of his mouth, there's a little bit of a smirk as you fade back into nothingness, into the ethereal realm from whence you came. You feel that you've had a slightly positive impact on Xander. That's good. We're going to change scenes now. This duo is in their apartment, and one of them is partaking of a particular activity that he greatly enjoys, and helps him relax. After a hard day of doing next to nothing, according to his sibling. We have Victor, who has the ubiquitous implements for what he is participating in, and his sibling, Cam, who is in the room, who kind of clucks their tongue at Victor and goes about what they were doing. Let's say washing dishes after dinner. Why not? Who would care to influence? All right. Spoon. What's the type of influence that you would like to have on this stoned immaculate scene?
If he can, Spoon's gonna go over to Cam and just kind of watch what they're doing for a little bit, very curiously, just kind of staring. And if a plate starts to fall, he'd probably try to catch it, or if that doesn't happen, he'd like to help them try to clean the dishes. His name is Spoon. Let's be real, y'all. What did you think I was going to do?
Okay, so it feels like you are trying to exert control over a physical object. Sure enough, Cam, in their distraction with looking at what Victor is doing, accidentally knocks a glass off of the drying rack where it is resting. So go ahead and roll a d20 for a poltergeist check.
Ooh, spooky. Okay, y'all. That is a 16.
All right. So you manage to stop the glass right before it hits the ground. You manage to catch it and lift it back up and put it where it was. And out of the corner of Cam's eye, they kind of see the glass moving on its own accord. So similarly, it's going to be 1 repercussion and 2 developments. Who would you like to experience the repercussion? I think it's only fair that Cam does, but... since Victor is doing whatever Victor does.
I was gonna say, kind of let Victor get freaked out.
All right, I like it. All right, let's roll with it.
Stoned as fuck. He's like, whoa, bro.
All right, so let's see. Go ahead and roll a d6.
That missed my dice. That's
A 2. All right. Let's see what happens. Where is it there? Negative influence. Result is it. The result is a 6. Okay. Result is above their attribute. Then the influence has no effect. So we are going to influence them. Is it positive? Okay. Getting down with the rules here. It's the first time I've run this too, so have some grace. That is under his attribute for fear. So you have successfully caused fear in another resident. So we are going to, let's see. And we'll do this. So we've imparted some fear into Victor. So he's like, oh shit, man. What? Hey, Cam, what? Did you, what? And he's been made slightly afraid of the situation because he just saw a floating glass. Now, which of the two would you like to impart a development to? Which of the two would you?
Do I have 2 developments or 1? I don't know how this
You have
works.
2.
Can I do one of each?
You can do one of each, sure.
Because he would feel terrible and be like, oh, hey. Oh. Also, I feel like you made me as a character.
What? What?
I'm
Oh, okay. So let's see. So you want to do one of each. Let's see what we have here. So one of each. So we're going to go ahead and you're getting a development. So go ahead and roll a d6 for Cam. I'm getting the hang of this. All right.
That's a 1.
A 1. This is good because it is a development. So what would you so repercussions I get to choose, developments you get to choose. So would you like to impart joy or instill courage? Apologies, Violet, for not getting this correct on your scene, but you will get more. You will create a positive influence from one resident to another. You will give +2 to the next d20 roll by any ghost. You'll give +1 to the next negative influence, so it'll make it harder to negatively influence somebody, or -1 to the next positive influence, so it'll make it easier to positively influence somebody.
That was a lot of words.
Yes, it was. So
I'm very overwhelmed.
do you want to move Cam towards their end game in a positive way? Do you want to make it easier to do so in the future? Or do you want to make it more difficult to cause them grief and harm? Bolster their defenses against the paranormal, as it were.
I'd want to bolster them.
Okay.
In case something bad happens that we can't control. Just be like, hey, you're fine, it's okay.
So, Cam has +1 to the next negative roll. That makes it harder to do that. So you also wanted to influence Victor as well. Go ahead and roll a d6.
5.
5. Victor. let's see if it. The result is above their attribute. It has no effect. That meets Victor's attribute, so it does have an effect. What effect would you like to have on Victor moving forward?
I would like to try to push him a little further towards his end goal.
Okay, so you want to undo what was done previously? Okay.
Yeah, undo the scare. Like, oh, I feel like just if there's like fog just writing, I'm sorry. No, not really. Not.
Man, what's in this stuff? I heard paranoia is a thing, but bro. So we're gonna undo the damage that was done. And Victor. All right, so that is the floating glass. Up next, we have someone alone in the office downstairs. She looks like she's filing paperwork, probably processing some rent payments. This is Nicolette. She is the landlady. You know that Nicolette knows that something is going on in her building. She's been here for a while. She's kind of caught whiffs of things that have happened previously. So she's a bit of a tough cookie, but she's already been very, very scared on a couple of occasions when one of you tried to influence her and weren't successful. Which one of you was that? Clyde. Okay, Clyde. So Nicolette is filing some paperwork and is... oh, they're 5 days late. Okay, well, let's put a notice in. We're gonna have to take care of that. Okay, and up next is them. Okay, Sigmund. Oh, he's such a sweetheart. Such a shame.
I guess I would. I don't know if I'd like physically appear, but if I could do like a voice, I'd just be like, if they're late on their taxes, that honestly, you should just throw one of them notices under the door and get somebody who actually pays, because if they ain't paying, they ain't staying.
So this is what you attempt to say. This is a poltergeist roll because you are attempting to create sounds and audio effect. Go ahead and roll a d20.
16.
3 16s in a row. All right. So you manage to you see you think that you got through because talking as a ghost is difficult. Violet was able to do that because the Grim Reaper is still learning. He's the new Grim Reaper on the job. So Clyde, what manages to come out of your mouth is delay it. The message you were trying to say, it manages to come through, but it's otherwise it's like you delay it, it's fine.
Oh, that's terrifying.
That's amazing.
Just like, if they don't pay, they don't stay.
Right. So we have only one person in the room, so this is going to have an interesting effect. I think that the repercussion is going to happen directly to Nicolette. Let's go ahead and roll a d6.
5.
5. Unfortunately, this seems to be the last in a long line of traumatizing experiences from you've probably tried to help her with her business previously. That's why you're here. Just, you happen to be passing by, and it's like, oh, it's like you're missing that paper. I'm gonna move it over here, or bursts into flames in front of her. These types of things. It's difficult interacting with the physical world. So you see a look of absolute panic come over her, and she starts to hyperventilate. She's reaches for an inhaler, and not again. Who would you like to influence with your development?
I guess Nicolette.
Okay. And keep in mind that it could be someone else that I will make somebody else happen within this scene. So go ahead, and if you're choosing to influence Nicolette, go ahead and roll a d6.
4.
4. All right. Again, unfortunately, she seems too caught up in the moment to really be to be receptive of what you're trying to do, trying to influence her in a positive manner. You do have one more chance to do so, though. Or you could influence somebody else.
Third time's the charm.
Sure. Roll a d6.
It's another 4.
She seems like she is just stuck in the moment, and she starts to look through her Rolodex because she heard about she heard about someone on the on the newsstand that there was if you got a problem, if there's something strange in the neighborhood, as it were. She's trying desperately to find that number. Doesn't seem super successful at the moment, but we're going to move on. It's the next day, and Sigmund has just taken Victor to school and has come home. He is reading the classified ads, looking for a job. From your time in spending the time in the building that he and Xander have freshly moved in to the building, so it looks like he's new to the area. Even he doesn't quite have a position lined up. He's in the common room downstairs. There's a coffee table. He's got a cup of coffee sitting there. The news is on. He's watching something about the subway train has gone off the rails, and the local hero has saved someone from under the train tracks, just in the nick of time. No injuries. It's miraculous. And in this moment of him looking at the TV and being distracted between the classifieds, let's go ahead and hear from Ash. You are Hester. Let's go ahead and hear from Hester.
I would like to sit beside him and say, "Oh, that's nice. That is so nice."
So, would you say that you're more trying to speak to Sigmund, or you're trying to actually physically apparate next to him?
More trying to physically be there.
Trying to physically be there. Okay. So we are going to roll a apparition. A d20.
That's a 2. So not great.
You manage to appear next to Sigmund. And as you look at the television screen and express your gratitude that, this person would be willing to, undergo this heroic act at danger to life and limb, what manages to come out is
Yeah, that feels right.
Sorry, Caden. And your hair is like just it looks like it's on fire with this etheric energy. If you'd see yourself in the mirror, you say, oh, that I should have done my curlers. So we're going to have 2 repercussions in this scene. I believe the first one we will go ahead and give to Sigmund. So we'll go ahead and roll a d6 to influence Sigmund.
That's a 3.
That is a 3. What is Sigmund at? Okay. Sigmund is startled by the screaming apparition that has appeared next to him on the couch cushion. His eyes go wide with fear. He accidentally knocks over the coffee mug next to him and spills coffee on the floor. The newspaper falls to the coffee table surface, and you see that look of that. If you'd been in the room with Clyde, you'd know this look of panic. You seem to have caused fear in Sigmund's heart. What is the next repercussion? Let's see. The next person to walk into the room is likely going to be, let's say, Cam. Cam is coming downstairs to go to their job. They work a late afternoon shift as a barista at a local coffee shop, and they come and they see this. They kind of catch the tail end of the screams and see you fade out of the mist, fade back into the etheric mist. Let's go ahead and roll a d6 to influence Cam.
How's a 6 treat Cam?
A 6, so it is automatically successful. So that is, when we have repercussions, it's good to roll low. When we have developments, it's good to roll high. Now, Cam previously had received a bolstering effect from Spoon's interaction with the glass. So Cam actually doesn't seem super phased by this. They kind of blink and must be seeing stuff, and they proceed out the door, but hand a napkin to Sigmund to clean up the coffee because it'll stain the carpet, and Nicolette hates having to call somebody in to clean the carpets. It went bad last time. Our next scene. Xander and Victor have struck up a little bit of a friendship. That Victor sees something in Xander that reminds him of, his youth in the ancient times of 4 years ago. And Xander kind of looks up to Victor as an older brother. So they are out on the back stoop, and let's say they're playing some air hockey. There's an air hockey table back on the back stoop, and they are playing the game. It's been a little bit since Sigmund saw the apparition in the lobby, and Xander's like, "Oh, this place is kind of weird." Yeah, man, you have no idea. And there's like floating glasses, and there's like the poor carpet cleaners, man. The vacuum just like exploded on him and got all that carpet cleaning juice all over him. That was like the room that had the cats in it. It was real bad. It was real bad, dude. So while they're having this conversation about the nuances and the spectral apparitions within the house, who would like to appear before them?
I'll appear.
All
I'll
right,
play
bud.
some air hockey.
So you would like to play some air hockey with them?
Yeah. I want to play hockey with them. I'm gonna move that puck. I want Xander to win because he thought the story was cool, like I did.
So your goal is to maneuver the puck as it's gliding across the surface to go into Victor's goalpost. All right, let's go ahead and roll a d20 roll to see how successful you are at this.
Alrighty. Natural 20.
Natural 20. Okay. Violet is very talented at being a poltergeist. Who would you like to influence for the first of your 2 developments?
Ooh, let's influence Xander, because I got him the point.
Okay. So you'd like to influence Xander. What effect would you like to have on Xander? Would you like to...
a positive effect.
You would... Okay. Yes, it's going to be a positive effect. Would you like to move him closer to the goalpost and making him happy? Would you like to create a positive influence between the 2 of them? Of, basically he affects Victor. Would you like to make it easier for the next ghost to do their action? Would you like to bolster Xander's defenses, or would you like to make it easier to have a positive effect on Xander in the future?
Let's make it the positive influence between the 2 of them.
Okay. I like that. So Xander, says... as he's like sinking puck after puck after puck, yeah, I saw this ghost, during bedtime story, and she was real friendly. She just seemed to like the story. Oh man, I wish I would have encountered that. Nobody reads me bedtime stories. And you think that the paranoia that had settled into Victor seems to have subsided a little bit. So you think that you've bolstered his bravery somewhat with this interaction. You also have a second development. What would you like to do next? Who would you like to influence?
Let's influence Victor. He sounds like he needs a little love.
Okay, and what effect would you like to have on Victor?
Let's make it easier to have him positively influenced in the future.
Easier to positive influence. Okay, got it. So you think that that actually sunk in, that meaningful interaction with this 13-year-old kid, seems to have like short up his defenses to make it easier to, he's seen a little bit of the light. You see that little bit of hope come back into his eyes from the paranoia that he was previously experiencing. Perfect. That was a very positive scene. So up next, let's see who we have. We have Nicolette and Sigmund. It's been a bit since Sigmund moved into the building, and he had some savings. As a matter of fact, he had quite a bit of savings, but it's starting to dwindle. It's starting to run out, and he's having to make hard choices about what he's going to do. But he's very on time with the rent, except this last time. He seems to have lapsed or forgotten to pay in his search for a job, in his start in the common room with the apparition that Hester put him through. That he seems to have forgotten to pay rent, and Nicolette is gently admonishing him to that he needs to cut a check, or that she's only able to float it for so long because she's not made of money. It's unfortunate that it's the name of the business, that she does have a business to run, but she's sympathetic to his situation. I'm very sorry. It's not easy for someone in your position. I understand that you might need some time, and I haven't had a chance to say, but I'm very sorry for your loss. Sigmund says, Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll get the check. I'll get the check tomorrow, and you'll have your rent. Which one of you would like to influence this situation?
What is that face?
Finch couldn't hear you on that one, unless you weren't present.
I'm too scared to.
Fortune favors the
Same.
bold.
Oh, let's see what happens.
All right, Clyde.
I feel like that's the name of the game. Let's see what happens.
Let's
just fuck it up.
Let's see how this turns out.
I
Okay.
kill Nicolette.
Thankfully, none of that is. Death is, ironically, not in the cards for these individuals yet. So let's go ahead and have you roll a d20.
That is a 5.
A 5. What does that get you? Let's ask. I'm sorry. What kind of influence were you trying to have on the two of them? What was the effect that you were attempting to go for? If you said it, I missed it. I'm sorry. Lost you again. Your audio's out.
Sorry. I'm not
It's all
used to
good.
push to talk. I
It's all good.
guess I was trying to influence Sigmund to feel like better about his situation and I don't know.
Okay. So you were trying to directly influence his spirit. That is a possession roll. Unfortunately, your attempt to ingratiate your skull into Sigmund's skull, you just kind of bounce off, unfortunately. Go ahead and re-roll, and we're going to... Yeah.
19.
Okay. So a 19. You, on your second attempt, managed to work your way into Sigmund's skull, and you're trying to remind him of the goodness and trying to be a positive influence on him. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. You managed to remind him of something that you saw. That he had forgotten to cash his unemployment check from his previous employer. So he manages to remember this. And you actually gain control of him for a few seconds. What would you like to do in these brief moments that you have control over Sigmund's body?
Hey, thanks, Nicolette. You should not feel super bad about the ghosts here. They're actually pretty cool.
All right, and with that, you work your way back out of Sigmund's skull, and there is going to be a repercussion and 2 developments. So instead of doing the repercussion first, let's go ahead and give you a development. Who would you like to influence?
Let's say Sigmund.
Sigmund. You'd like to influence Sigmund. Okay, and let's go ahead and roll a d6.
Tree.
Tree fitty. All right. What kind of influence are you wanting to have on him? Are you trying to make him bring happiness into his heart? Are you trying to bolster his defenses? What effect are you trying to have?
Bolster.
Okay. Sigmund seems that The apparition he looks like he's rubbing his head a little bit. It's like after you left his skull, that he's like, what happened? Nicolette's, your voice changed for a minute, and you said that I shouldn't worry about the ghosts, which is slightly concerning since I didn't tell you about them. But you see that he's like, ghosts? I'm not sure. You think that the kind of hazy memory effect that happens when you take possession of someone has kind of erased his memory of, or made it a little bit more foggy of what happened with Hester in the lobby. So it has undone the fear effect that was imparted to him. Okay, and let's go ahead and have the repercussion. What is the repercussion? Should I pick on Nicolette? No, I'm not going to pick on Nicolette. I am going to pick Xander. He comes around the corner. He's heading up to the apartment, and he sees Nicolette in the lobby with a kind of a concerned and apprehensive look on her face. And it kind of makes him a little bit wary of the situation. He isn't super clued into what's going on with his father's finances, but he knows that things have been difficult for the last 6 months or so. Of course he knows why, but it unsettles him a little bit. So it's going to be harder to positively influence him next time, since there's the seed of doubt that has been planted in his heart. And who would you like to have for the second development? Now that we have a third player in the scene.
Nicolette. Fourth time's the charm.
Fourth time's the charm. All right, let's roll a d6.
Another tree.
Another 3. This is a positive effect. All right. What kind of effect are you trying to have on Nicolette? Are you trying to you're trying to bolster her? Are you trying to undo damage that has been done previously? What's the effect that you're going for? In telling her that, the ghosts aren't too bad.
Undoing my damage.
Okay.
Yep, that's the one.
You think that she's been scared too much recently to have that easily influenced in that regard. You don't think that would be too successful if you tried to exert influence in that way. So go ahead and choose a different one.
Maybe bolster her to be less scared the next time I screw up.
Okay, so you'd like to bolster her defenses. Got it. Cool. And with that, there's a seed of doubt in her mind as well, but different from the one that happened to poor Xander back in the hallway. She's beginning to wonder, she has had a lot of these experiences, and she's never really been hurt by them, really. They've been terrifying, and they've been constantly terrifying. Sometimes panic attack inducingly so, but they've never actually caused her harm. So there's a little bit of doubt there. So it's going to be, she's going to remember that the next time that something scary happens, that it's not going to be as probably not as impactful next time. All right. Cam is off of their shift and is studying in their room, reading a book, and probably on something crazy highbrow, like you know what? Cam's in school for architecture. Cam is studying to be a structural engineer. They
You go, Cam.
yeah. They they're looking at CAD for dummies and trying to program something into their drafting program on their computer, and getting a little frustrated because it's not the easiest thing in the world to make sure that you're building a sound building. And you never really know until you print the blueprints. I know nothing about architecture, by the way. I'm sorry for all of you Cal Poly students out there that are watching. So who would like to cause it? Spoon? Okay, Spoon would like to influence Cam. So Cam's sitting at their computer. They're reading their book. What type of influence would you like to have?
Spoon's gonna kind of float, or not like enter it directly into them, pardon me, and he's gonna float around. Is it a laptop or is it a computer?
It is a desktop computer.
Okay.
A little more powerful of a processor for
Okay.
Engineering programs.
He's gonna kind of phase his head through like one of the back panels and make sure everything's plugged in properly.
Okay. So you'd like to...
That's it. Just
Are you trying to physically appear before Cam? Are you trying to physically influence something around Cam, or are you trying to influence Cam directly?
right now he's just kind of checking to see what's happening. But he's just kind of curious. He's just looking, but then he is going to sit up and kind of move next to Cam and just kind of look at the screen and notice that they may not have saved in the past hour on their program. And that wouldn't be good if everything went bad.
Yeah.
So he's going to try to pick... He's going to try to let them know, can you save? Like, make sure you save. Whether that's writing it down on a sticky note or like physically appearing and being, oh no, you know what? He's gonna try to physically appear. He's gonna try.
Okay, so you're like attempting to like point at the little disc icon on the top left corner. Like,
yeah, he's gonna point. He's gonna try to point at the little thing.
Cam, fella, press F5. It's trying to yeah.
As someone who's had so many softwares crash on them.
Okay, so you are trying to apparate. You're trying to be an apparition. So go ahead and roll a d20 roll for Cam.
Hi, I'm Kaden, and I'm... 19!
A 19. Okay. That is pretty solid as far as that's concerned. So, Cam, do we have any bonuses? No, the bonuses got used. So, Cam, there will be... Of course, it can't go exactly as intended, but you manifest fully for a few seconds in a specific form and can manage a few words. So, a sentence. What's the sentence that you say?
He's gonna smile at them. He's gonna smile and say, "Don't forget to save."
Okay. And pointing at the screen as well.
Yeah, and he like awkwardly points at the screen with his dangly fingers. He's
right.
lanky.
Phalanges. So we going to have development. So let's go ahead and have you choose a resident of the house or the apartment.
Them.
Cam. Okay.
Yeah,
so
Cam.
You're trying to I would say that you're trying to have a positive influence on Cam directly. So go ahead and roll a d6.
Okay. That's a 4.
A 4. Let's check that. That will do it. So, Cam, without thinking, thanks, and moves the mouse up and clicks the save icon. Wait a minute. There's this weird guy with mushrooms sprouting out his neck, floating next to Cam. We are going to, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and roll a d5 because I have one of those. All right. That's interesting. So we're going to say that it is Sigmund that is influenced by this. So as Cam clicks the save icon, there's a little bit of power fluctuation, and downstairs in Sigmund's apartment, he's making up smoothies for dinner. Like he's trying to trying to lose a little bit of the pooch that he's got going on. Maybe that might help him appear better in job interviews. He's probably wrong, but he's self-conscious. And the blender just kind of like just gurts juice just all up out of the blender. It knocks the top off the blender, and whatever the little bit of a power surge happened, you happened in the nick of time to save Cam's work, but Sigmund is drenched in smoothie juice. So what we're going to do is it is going to be let's see. It's going to he's gonna get he's got a look of concern in his eyes, so it might be a little dangerous if things get scary for Sigmund next roll, unfortunately. I say dangerous, but I mean, like, for you guys, not for Sigmund necessarily. Okay, so what other development would you like to have? Who would you like to influence?
You know what? Because I feel like that's what Spoon would want to do. He's gonna try to keep influencing.
Influence.
Leave me alone. Influencing. There we go. Cam. Maybe kind of like try to like reassure them, kind of maybe bolster them to be like, oh, I'm not scary. We're not scary. We're here to help. Kind of. Okay. I don't know if that's that.
So you are trying to bolster their courage. You're trying to make them less afraid of ghosts. Go ahead and roll a d6. I almost said d5.
I was gonna say, I don't think I got one of those, fam.
Need a digital roller for that.
Oh yeah, you do. That's a 5.
A 5. Let's see. You think that whatever the power surge caused, that Cam is more focused on making sure that their work is preserved. They are focused solely on this computer screen. They don't seem to notice you in your influences to be like, be reassuring. Cam doesn't notice, unfortunately. Spoon dab? Really? Okay, we're going there. All right, dabble do ya. Moving on to the next scene. We will have who hasn't interacted yet. We're going to say that it is. We haven't heard from Victor in a bit. Let's go ahead and have Victor back in his old habits again. He, is trying to get wise, like maybe in putting a box fan blowing out the window, might like help shunt some of the effects, out so that it doesn't like stink up the furniture, because Cam has complained that, it's just the smell of skunks and lemongrass. It's just very unique and distinct and doesn't work well with their attire. Even if people at the coffee shop are seemingly okay with it, Cam doesn't want to be associated. So he's, doing his thing next to a box fan up that's blowing air out the window, and there is a knock at the door, and he's like, "Oh man, dang it! Oh, I hate always harshing my mellow." So goes and opens up the front door, and it is Nicolette. And she has warned Victor on a few occasions that not to be partaking of this indoors, because it's more difficult to sell units that have, um, resin and things baked into the stucco. Why is there stucco? It's popcorn ceilings, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure what this building has.
Stucco? What the
Anything but popcorn. No.
Yeah, it's an older building. Come on, it was all the rage in the 60s. Yeah, so Nicolette is, Victor, please, if you're going to do that, please out on the back stoop. Don't do it in the building. It's some of the other residents are allergic and they're complaining. So could you please? Oh man, I'm sorry. I'll let me finish this one, and I'll move downstairs. We'll do that. That'll be fine. Who would like to interrupt this particular bummer of a scene? All right, Hester. How are you trying to influence this dressing down?
I would like to remove Nicolette from the situation. I wanna possess her and take her out. Oh, out of the room.
Okay, I was going to ask for yeah. There's an open window.
Take her out,
Victor. Don't want that. Okay, so you're going to attempt to possess Nicolette and just move her elsewhere. Just exit stage left. Okay, let's go ahead and have you roll a d20.
That's a 20.
A natural 20. Okay. What happens here? Possession. For the next minute, you have complete and total control over Nicolette, and they are none the wiser. They believe that they are acting of their own accord.
Shit. I wasn't ready to succeed. I want to tell Victor.
Sorry, I will say it's 2 developments, so there's no negative repercussions on this.
Nice. Natch. I want to tell Victor, take his time. No rush. We're cool. Don't worry. And I want to go back to my office. To Nicolette's office.
Okay. So, which of the 2 are you attempting to influence? Are you attempting to make Nicolette more amenable, or are you trying to assuage Victor?
I want to assuage Victor.
All right. Go ahead and roll a d6.
6.
All right. Victor had that. Let's see. That had made it easy. I think he had a positive influence on him. Thank you for the follow. And so with that, you see a brightness come over Victor, like his faith in humanity has been restored. Like you think that like he was already a pretty lighthearted kind of guy, like, but you just like you made his week. You made his week. It's great. So for all intents and purposes, unless something terrible happens to Victor, he's pretty locked mentally into a pretty good space as far as being a happy person is concerned. So, well done on that. You have one more development.
Oh boy. I don't even know. I'm gonna.
So a reminder of the positive effects that you can have. You can impart joy or instill courage, so bring up the positive attributes. You can create a positive influence between one resident and another, so they can bring up one of the two of them. You can make it easier for the next ghost to succeed on whatever they're trying to do. You can mitigate some of the negative influences of a bad effect, like of a repercussion, or you can bolster the defenses of the person so that happy events are a little bit happier.
I want to bolster her defenses.
Bolster her defenses. Okay, so she is going to have. Excellent. So she feels like she did a good thing. That Victor looked like he needed a win, and she managed to give him a win. So she feels good about herself for doing that. Not really sure why she didn't follow through on making sure that he wasn't going to stink up the place, but, you know, he said that he was going to go downstairs, and she's going to take him at his word. So that's good. It's positive. Excellent. We'll move forward to the next scene. We have Cam is at their bike and is attempting to, as all people do at some point in their lives when living in an apartment building, only wants to make one trip. Has gone to the store and has several bags of heavily laden groceries and sundries and miscellaneous personal goods, and is trying to load up their arms to best situate, while working in food service, not necessarily in the restaurant industry, so doesn't have the expo skills of balancing multiple trays. And Sigmund sees this as he is walking down the steps. He's on his way to a job interview. He's very hopeful, and he's wearing a nice suit and tie. Shoes have been polished. Looks good. He sees Cam struggling and moves to assist. I believe that who's the only person who hasn't acted in this round? I think it is Finch. Is it Finch? Yeah, Finch. Clyde. Apologies.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, Clyde.
I got
are
this.
you? How are you attempting to influence Cam and Sigmund with this grocery trip?
I guess I'll try to grab some of the bags in my teeth.
Okay. All right. So that is going to be affect a physical object within the world. You are going to be rolling a d20 for poltergeist.
That is a 1.
All right. So you reach down and you grab onto one of the bags, with your teeth, and it's a plastic bag. So you're, instead of like using your lower jaw to kind of like, oh, I'm just going to carry it with my lower jaw, you bite through this plastic bag, and you actually manage to get a piece of, let's see who's, get a piece of Cam's jacket as well.
I thought you were going to say finger.
Oh no, it's on the
Fear.
arms. Like we established that it was. Yeah, I'm not gonna be that bad yet. So a piece of the jacket, like the bag just snaps and falls, and this had glass jars in it. Probably some
Spaghetti.
probably some spaghetti sauce. Some
Spacket.
yeah, and now it is sidewalk spaghetti. That jar of Bertolli is no longer with us. The pickles as well. It's all over for those dills.
Now that's a big deal.
Not the pickles.
Actually, they prefer gherkins, so it's probably not a very big deal.
Oh, then they deserve to be dropped.
Oh my. Okay.
I appreciate all pickles.
We've learned a lot about Finch just now.
So there's going to be a repercussion for both of these people that are here. We are going to say, go ahead and roll a d6 for Sigmund, since he moved to help.
Okay, keep it to the trend. 1.
1. That is under his current score. So even with the bonus, so that eliminates that bonus. He is startled by what just happened, especially the fact that the jacket pulled up, like, you see the thing rise up, and could have sworn that there were teeth marks in that jacket. That, yes, wide like that, Caden, as wide jaw things.
I yawned.
Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you. He seems to be very concerned that it's outside of the apartment building and weird stuff still happened. It's very concerning for him. So what will happen is it is going to be more difficult for a ghost to succeed, to be successful when they attempt to influence a scene that has Sigmund in it. He is very wary now. That's what that will do. For Cam, go ahead and roll your d6.
2.
Cam was really looking forward to making spaghetti. And is grateful that the onions weren't in that bag to bruise the onions, and the pasta didn't get broken because Cam doesn't like when spaghetti is very, very small. Cam likes to be able to fork and spoon it. So Cam is a little bit saddened by this lack of meal. It appears that a little bit of the light that was in Cam's eyes has diminished somewhat. They are saddened by this effect. All right, and you fade back into mist, cursing your bad luck that this is very difficult. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's difficult, and it's hard to really master interacting with the physical world. That's that. How is everyone doing player-wise? Do we need a break? Do we need? Are we okay to keep going? We're good. Okay. Just gonna drink water real quick. 30 seconds.
Hydration is important.
Apparently, so
Hydrated,
is oxygen. What the
It is.
fuck?
Not at the same time.
No.
Not at the same time.
No. Your trachea will not be happy with you. Is that?
Will not.
Did I even say that word?
No, you got it. Trachea.
Trachea. I have a trachea.
All right, so back to the task at hand. Let's see. We are going to hop over to Xander and Nicolette. Nicolette has seen Xander of late. Playing roughhousing, really, in some of the areas of the apartment building where he really has no right to be. Mostly on the stairs leading to the roof. He's, running up and down the halls, just kind of behaving like a fresh new teenager does. It's just generally misbehaving, unfortunately. So Nicolette has kind of cornered Xander, but grabbed him gently by the shoulders and said, "Xander, you're being a little bit of a nuisance. It's okay. I understand that you've got a lot of energy to burn, but if you could please try not to make so much noise, especially in the later hours of the evening when people are trying to rest. We'd be very appreciative. We'd like that a lot." Xander is, of course, like that pre-teenage, or he's coming into that teenage era, is like, whatever, you're not my mom, type of attitude. And he actually is getting a little frustrated. The look that comes on his face is like he's being very, very introspective, and it actually looks like he's about to cry because of the effects that are happening. Just something that's going on in his head is causing an effect. It's he's gonna get pretty sad here in a minute if somebody doesn't intervene. So which of the four of you wants to try to influence this scene? Violet, I know that you have attempted to influence Xander successfully. I'm going to go ahead and say you are otherwise occupied during this scene.
Someone's getting in trouble. I'm not there because I'm a kid and I don't want to get in trouble too. I don't want to be associated with that. So, peace.
You know what? Spoon is gonna try.
All right, Spoon. What you got? How are you attempting to influence this scene?
Is there a cat that lives in the apartment?
For Nicolette's sake, unfortunately, somebody keeps feeding the darn thing, so it keeps coming back.
Is there a cat in this room?
This is a hallway.
This area.
So, yes, there happens to be a cat at the end of the hall.
I'm gonna try to possess the cat.
All right. I will point out that if you possess the cat and are successful at this, the cat will think that its actions are its own. The cat already believes this because it's a goddamn cat. So
I mainly may want to, as the cat, rub up against his legs and start purring and try to distract him. And try to make him happy with kitty cuddles.
Kitty cuddles. I like it. Okay.
Yeah, Spoon
Let's,
is a very simple man. He just wants people to be happy.
Quite all right. So let's go ahead and roll that d20.
Fear. Not a one.
Oh boy.
I'm so sad. No! Spoon, my son, you have let me.
So your intention is to kind of reach down and slip your hand, along the cat's, the scruff of its neck, where most people would pick up a cat and move them. That's your thought, that you're going to slip your hand in and move them. Unfortunately, as you may have seen cats do, cats have that sight that allows them to peer into realms beyond our own. And it sees you. And begins to there's a couple of gifs out there where the cat is like, oh heck no, I'm getting up out of here. With the rainbow arch cat, where it's like they're just perfectly and the tail is stock stiff. The cat does this. But as it's walking away, it sinks its claws into the soft drywall and begins to walk up the wall backwards. I've seen a cat do this. It is the most terrifying thing. It's like you try to put a pill down a cat's throat and it's just like, nah, I'm gonna be demon possessed. That's what's gonna happen right here.
I did not know that was fucking possible.
So that's what's happening.
I thought you did this.
So you done spooked the kidder. And you spooked both of them too.
Yep.
Go ahead and roll a d6 for your repercussions.
You have 4?
Okay. A 4 on Xander. He ain't never seen a cat do this. He is pretty well, maybe he was running down the hall because he needed to get to the bathroom. Because the next thing that you see, Spoon, is the carpet is getting a little dark around Xander's feet. He is pale and he is sweating, and he's not okay. He's not okay. You've instilled fear into Xander.
Spoon honestly probably starts crying himself. He feels so fucking bad.
Roll for Nicolette.
1.
A 1. This is, without a doubt, the same type of shit that she's been putting up with for way too long. She is very much going to really look for that number. She is gung-ho going to be set on making sure that she can find whoever it is that can help out in this situation. She, because of what happened, has also cross that threshold into fear. She is full on not having any of this anymore. She's ready to nope right the heck out. So for the remainder of the game, unless something beatific happens, Nicolette is going to be very, very hard to bring back from this precipice.
Sorry, guys.
So how this works is that we have two people, one on opposite ends of the spectrum, which is great. We're right at the midpoint. Two people on opposite ends of the spectrum. If a ghost chooses to influence them in a positive manner, and then the second ghost is successful at influencing them, that can swing back the other way. In either case, I could be a dick and pull the rug out from under Victor's feet. But it also is very, very difficult for you to influence Nicolette at this point. You can still make her happy. You can still do that. But she is very, very scared. So she might be full of joy and brightness in her heart and be terrified of the dark. Lots of people are this way. So Victor, on the other hand, is kind of iffy, as far as the ghosts are concerned. But life ain't done him wrong. Life's great. So he's doing pretty good. So that's where we currently stand. As far as an update, Xander is a pretty happy kid, all things considered. But he's starting to get real scared of the ghosts. Sigmund, he needs a win. He really needs a win. And he's concerned about what this apartment building has. He's going to be a tough case. Cam is pretty ambivalent about everything that's going on. Cam could go either way at this point. So that's where we currently stand. We're kind of split in the middle. So we'll get back into it. We'll go back to our first scene that we had with Xander and his dad. A twofer for Xander, one after the other. He is pretty terrified of what happened, but he's still, he's, like George Michael said, you got to have faith. He is, seeking solace in his father. And then the cat, it started to climb the walls, and it was hissing, and I don't know why it was doing that. It was scary, and I peed myself. And Sigmund is, he's concerned for his son. He thought that this would be a good move after, the trauma that they've both have experienced. And he's starting to think that maybe this isn't the best place for them. That it's obviously not doing his son a lot of good. His son does seem overall happy, but he's not sure. But so he's it's okay, Xander. I get scared sometimes too. There was a screaming old lady down in the lobby, a little bit. It was weird, but it's not too bad. But sometimes these things happen. Maybe the cat, saw something it didn't like. Maybe it was it's a cat. They're insane. They're just the worst creatures on the planet.
Tell us how you really feel.
Sigmund is very allergic to cats, so he's
emotionally as well, it seems.
It's, when you get scratched one too many times and your hand swells up like a sausage, it's, just, what? It's best to just keep the the Egyptians might have been onto something in the fact that they have some ties to the to the Greek hereafter, but it's no, not for me. So he's trying to assuage Xander. He's trying to ask him about school. How was the math test that he was going to do? It was like, oh, it was it actually went pretty well, and the special project that Cam helped him with, it went well. He got a B on it, and a B is great. B is more than passing, more than sufficient. It's as long as you put in your best effort, that's what counts. It's not straight A's are great, but they're not what's most important in life. Sigmund's a good dad, even if he hates cats. So, which of you are not Spoon? He's he just went. You just went. It's fine.
Oh no, I'm not gonna do anything.
So, which of the three of you are in the area for this scene and would like to exert some influence? You know that Sigmund, it's going to be, that Sigmund is kind of wary of the ghosts right now, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to make sure this happens. But chances are still good. Clyde.
I'm gonna lay out, if I can. I'm gonna try to lay out Sigmund's clothes get him some really A+ style for his next job interview and lay him out for him.
Okay. So you're influencing the physical world or influencing a physical object. The same type of role that you did last time. It's going to be a D20 roll for Poltergeist. $18. Now, because this is a little bit more difficult, based off of the results of what happened previously, your previous interaction with him was not the best. The result is actually a 16. But that is still within the same threshold of success. So you gain control of an object for a few seconds. So you are able to lay out 2 articles of clothing. Which 2 articles of clothing do you lay out?
Shirt and tie.
Good. Classic. Excellent. So shirt and tie, you're able to do that. In the process of doing that, you knock over a glass of scotch onto, and it's not a great scotch. He's trying to be frugal with his money. I saw your concern, Lindy. But it knocks it onto his pants. So he's got the great shirt and the excellent patterned tie. Not going for the power tie move that didn't work out so well, but a good solid pattern. Maybe something with like a like Chrono Trigger, 16-bit figures all over it. Something that shows that he's got a certain flair.
Serious, but
yeah.
willing to have fun.
Exactly. Understands that time control or time travel is a cornucopia of disturbing concepts, as that game teaches most that play it. So you've knocked over on his pants. So there is going to be a repercussion, and I will go ahead and say that it is going to be on Sigmund because it is his pants. But you also get 2 developments. So who would you like to positively influence?
I would like to positively influence Sigmund.
Excellent. Okay. So what kind of effect are you trying to have on Sigmund? Are you trying to make him happy? Are you trying to make him more resilient against future trauma? What are you trying to do?
I'm going to try to make him happy. He didn't even like those pants anyways. They didn't go with the whole outfit at all.
It was mixing patterns. You just don't do that. So go ahead and roll me a d6.
4.
Okay. You're trying to make him happy. He was kind of looking forward to that cup of scotch. And the pants, it wouldn't have been a good match, but he's also now he's got to get him dry cleaned because he can't go into a job, job interview smelling like booze. That's not the image that he wants to convey. So you don't think that move had very much effect as far as your intended consequence. So the repercussion is going to be that he is reminded of pretty much everything that he's got, facing him. That it's there's going to be a whole lot that he's got to overcome if he wants to make sure that he keeps providing for his son, and it's kind of a heavy burden. So it's going to be more difficult to positively influence him for the next role. Still possible, but just a little more difficult. So what's the other beneficial effect that you would like to have?
Can I bolster his feelings?
Sure.
Sigmund?
Are you trying to do the same thing as before? Are you trying to make him happier? Or are you trying to make him less afraid of what's going on in the building?
Less afraid.
Less afraid. Okay. Go ahead and roll that d6.
6.
Okay. So this is positive. Just double checking. What was right there? Positive influence. Press choice. Look at there. So, okay. Equal to or below. Okay. He seems to be pretty focused on with the the smell of the liquor. He seems to be pretty focused on the tasks that he's got to do. He is making a to-do list just to kind of keep his focus on what he can control, what he can accomplish, making the tasks not so insurmountable. But he's still. You don't think that it really had much of an effect, but you did mitigate the negative influence that the spilling the drink had. So while it didn't have the positive outcome that you were looking for, it also nullified the negative thing. So he's kind of at a wash for that. All right. Victor and Cam. It's family pizza night. And they are fighting over who gets to choose the movie for Netflix. Typically speaking, it is the person who bought the food that gets to choose the movie because you paid for the evening, so you might as well get that right. But Victor paid for the food, but forgot to replace the batteries in the remote. So it took a bit of time, and Cam had to go down to the corner market and buy some AA batteries and put them into the remote. So they both kind of equal investment in the evening, and they're kind of fighting over what to watch. Cam wants to watch something scary, and Victor's like, nah, I'm not feeling that tonight. I don't really, no. I'm not feeling up to it. And Cam's like, but it's the Babadook. It's my favorite. And which is just a great, great film. If you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend. The Babadook makes you Baba shook.
No fucking kidding.
Yeah. It's so.
Sorry, interesting choice. That's just me being out of character. That's. I have a lot of feelings about the Bob. I have a lot of feeling.
It was very well done. Yeah. So, they settle on the movie. They're gonna settle in and watch. Victor is making some popcorn and some Chex Mix and some jalapeno poppers, and is grabbing a 12-pack of Diet Cherry Vanilla Dr. Pepper, because that's his favorite. Diet Dr. Pepper is the only diet that tastes okay. And Coke Zero, but I mean that's beside the point. Cam has unfortunately, Cam's a little extra. Cam likes LaCroix. It's the coconut LaCroix too. Questionable life choices, but they settle in to watch the film. And as the opening of the film starts, who is choosing to join in on family movie night between Hester and Violet?
I'll join in because there's pizza.
All right. So whenever you're from, you knew what pizza is. That's great. So what kind of influence are you attempting to have over the evening?
What's the current atmosphere like now that they've kind of settled in for the movie?
Victor is like chowing down popcorn and handfuls of Chex Mix and is chugging down soda. He's got to pace himself. He's going to go through it way too fast. But this is kind of what happens. It's par for the course when you do what he does. Cam is just grateful to be sitting down and not have any pressures that are coming their way for the evening. So it's kind of a here and there.
Okay. Since if like Cam is thirsty and wants to reach for his diet soda, I don't even drink soda, so I can't even like tell you the names of most of them. Something cherry vanilla. And he's just so comfortable.
This is Victor?
Yeah, to Cam. I'll just scoot it closer so he doesn't have to get up. While Victor's chowing down on his.
So,
help Cam out of it.
Victor had the soda, Cam had the LaCroix.
Oh, yes,
so
the LaCroix. Sorry, yes. Okay. I'll move the LaCroix closer. Just scoot his plate and soda a little closer so he don't have to reach as far. He can stay comfortable. Just.
All right, go ahead and this is obviously Cam has noticed their eyes go wide. Things are moving again. So go ahead and roll your d20 to influence.
All right, let's see how this. Well, that's a 7.
Okay, a 7. What does that get you for the poltergeist? Actually, when the plate or the LaCroix the can kind of rattles and you can hear the fizz pop and bubble. But nothing really seems to happen. Go ahead and re-roll.
Okay. That's an 18.
18, all right. So, you managed to move the LaCroix closer to Cam, and they reach out and pick it up and sip from it. It's a little flatter because of the carbonation kind of went. And did you see that? Yeah, that kid's like a righteous little shut. No, the can, it moved. What? Like, you saw that happen? Whoa. Have you been into my stash? No. Something weird's happening. So there are 2 positive developments and 1 repercussion. So go ahead and choose a development.
Ooh, I want this to make him happy.
Okay. The
convenience.
everybody that I have ever met has done this, where you're sitting back and you're like, dang it, the remote's across the room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Try to use their force powers to do it, and it worked this time. Go ahead and roll your d6.
6.
Okay. With that, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bend the rules because we've been playing it this way. I just looked at it and we're just doing that. Okay, so you want high for good and you want low. No, yeah. Anyway, the dog's barking. Sorry. We're successful. Okay, so you know that little like twinkle smirk appears on their face, and they like, yeah, I got force powers. They're pretty jazzed with that. So you feel that you have put a little bit of taken a little bit of Cam's apprehension and sadness away, and instilled a little bit of joy. Now, as far as the repercussion, when you passed through the can of LaCroix, the remote happened to be right in the path. And when you did this, the film stopped, and then the volume on the TV spiked and the film started again, and then the screen went to snow. And we've all seen Poltergeist, or at least know of what happens in Poltergeist. No? Screen goes to snow, a little girl gets sucked into the TV. Spoiler alert.
I don't watch scary movies.
Okay.
I play scary tabletop RPGs. It's a weird thing.
The movie's been out forever.
Yep. I think.
Didn't they do a remake?
Like I've seen The Grudge.
Yes, I think they did. Yeah. Or that's The Ring. Comes out of the snowy. Yeah.
Like Jurassic.
Oh, The Ring. I do know The Ring.
Like right there.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the first. Anyway, that was the first scary movie that I watched. I was 12. Yeah. So it's going to be more difficult to positively influence either of them in this scene. So just because it was family movie night, and that kind of put a damper on things. So we're just going to say it's going to be a little harder to influence them in a positive manner. But you have one more positive influence. So who would you like to influence?
Let's influence Cam again. He was teetering for a little bit, and Victor was fine. So.
Okay. So you would like to influence Cam. They are a little bit happier, and you know that from my previous update that they're iffy on ghosts. You think that this might push them one way or the other. So would you want to make them happier, or would you want to make them less afraid of ghosts?
I think less afraid of ghosts.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that d6.
5.
Okay. Positive. That works out. So we are going to go ahead and say that, yeah, it's been weird, but I'm starting to think that they don't really mean us any harm. What if they're just trying to communicate? What if they, like the Babadook? It's like the dead husband, right? It's the spirit of loss, and maybe they're just hungry. Maybe they just want to talk to us. Maybe it's not so bad. And Victor's like, I hadn't really thought of that. That's pretty smart. So you think that you have lessened Cam's fear of what's happening in the building and moved them more towards the courageous side.
Yay! Then I wistfully, just stare at the pizza.
It's anchovy and pineapple.
I changed my mind.
Cam has such bad taste.
Oh, Victor bought the pizza.
Yeah.
They
Not
deserve each
surprised.
other.
They certainly are siblings.
No, yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm so disappointed. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
It's coconut LaCroix is like if
Somebody maybe
Well-
put a coconut 50 feet near the vat they were preparing the coconut LaCroix. Yeah, you're
no, it's more that the swimming pool of carbonated water that inevitably is within every place. They were doing a copper tone photo shoot on the beach nearby, and the baby, after getting applied sunscreen, jumped into the swimming pool full of water, and then they fished him right out because that's dangerous for the baby. Why was it playing so near the swimming pool? But yeah, that's
of
the
LaCroix.
yeah.
That's painfully accurate, and I don't like it.
So Nicolette is in her office and has found that business card that she was looking for. It is written on there, the phone number, and says, "Do you have problems with inexplicable phenomena? Are items flying off your shelves or randomly rearranging? Are cats climbing the walls? Call this number. We can help." And she is getting ready to dial that number, at least for a consultation. She is not sold on the price because she's heard that they're expensive. So she wants to at least talk to somebody about this. It's, let's see if they're everything they're cracked up to be. Can't hurt. It's just window shopping, right? So I believe it is Hester's turn. It went well last time.
My first one really, really colored my experiences, so I'm nervous all the time. I want to try to tell her we mean well.
Okay, so you want to speak to her. Or are you trying to physically appear in a vision to, just show that ghosts don't have to be scary?
I think I'll just speak to her for now.
Okay. Go ahead and roll that d20.
18?
All right. So it is... You speak words, and what do you say to her? How do you phrase that?
I just say, we don't mean to frighten you. We mean well.
Okay. That's a short, clear, concise message, and she hears it. So it is still going to have a repercussion, but also has 2 positive developments. So what would you like your first positive development to be?
I want to make her less scared of ghosts.
Okay. This is going to be a very difficult role. She is terrified of ghosts at this point. you will need, let's see. Yeah, almost impossible, but it is within the realm of possibility. Highly improbable. Let's put it that
Highly
way.
improbable. I got a 5.
A 5 is more, so we'll go ahead and say that was a win, because that's how I've been deciding to play it in the second half anyway, because I can't keep my brain straight. So she hears this voice, and she pauses while she's dialing the phone, and thinks that same thought that all of the residents of the building have been having lately, that no harm really has come to any of them, that it hasn't been necessarily physically harmful, that they haven't, it's been terrifying, but it's like when one of your parents hides in the shower, wearing a hockey mask, and you pull back the curtain and you see those videos. They're terrible parents that do that. Dad. But she starts to think that's, maybe it's not so bad. So you think that you have influenced her with that roll, so that eliminates that bonus, but it also gives her a point of courage. She puts down the business card. Meanwhile, Xander is. Go ahead. This is unless you have an idea of your other development that you would like. Okay. Xander is asleep in bed. He is having a dream that someone is getting into a car, and he is in his house upstairs, and they're getting into the car, and he is banging on the windows, trying to tell them not to get into the car. The car drives away, and he wakes up crying. It is going to be harder to convince him that to rid his heart of sadness. It's going to be harder if somebody tries to do that.
Why you gotta hit me with those feels?
I told you that I was going to be hurtful. The other development, the other positive influence.
I guess I want to help the sorry, I want to help the next ghost.
Okay, then you want to help the next ghost with that is in a scene with Xander. Okay, excellent. So you at some point in the evening, you saw that Xander was having this effect, and you told the other ghosts in the building that, hey, this kid he's not doing good. He's not doing real good. Need to encourage him somehow. And everybody else takes it to heart, so they're going to be extra attentive when they attempt to influence him next. I'm just going to make a quick note here. All right. Go ahead and roll a d6. I just need to confirm that.
6.
Perfect. That's great. You're attempting to positive. That's meets or exceeds his the positive aspect. So we're good. Excellent. So that scene fades. You've helped assuage some of the fears of Nicolette. At the same time, Xander had a crisis of conscience and a crisis of something, and you've told the other ghosts to rally. Next is going to be the following morning. We'll go ahead and resolve that right away. Sigmund and Xander are eating breakfast, and Sigmund actually is pretty okay. He's called in for a second interview at work at the job, so he's the suit, the shirt and tie combo really impressed him. They were a big SNES fan back when it was still playable. Some people still have playable consoles. It's great. So he's bolstered by that a little bit. Xander didn't sleep well the remainder of the night, but Sigmund is like, hey buddy, how do you feel about some French toast? And Xander's like, yes, please. With the orange zest. You got it. So Sigmund is making breakfast, deciding that smoothies are, maybe not the way to go. The blender's been acting up. And he's zesting the orange over the batter. And Xander is attempting to shake off what he's been feeling, is reading the Sunday funnies. He is, don't know why, but he loves Garfield. Despite the fact that it hasn't been funny in 30 years. Yeah, I said it.
It's just your opinion?
I used to love Garfield. I did.
Opinions hurt.
Yeah.
They do.
So they're sitting over breakfast, and Sigmund's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do today? Xander's like, I've got a homework project I need to work on before tomorrow, but I think that can wait if you had something in mind. Sigmund, I was thinking we could go. I was thinking we could go to the zoo, go and see some of the animals. And Xander's like, I like that. It's been a while since we've been to the zoo. So who among the four of you is overhearing this conversation about the zoo and wants to exert their influence? Anyone?
I see all this pointing. So sure.
Yeah, I just see it like you doing like the fucking Macarena over there.
I'm trying to point in the right direction. It's hard.
I'll roll a d4.
I'll do it.
Okay,
I'll
Violet.
influence. Yeah.
How would you like to influence this scene?
All right. They're going to go to the zoo. They're gonna need sunscreen because it's a bright, sunshiny day outside. And I remember I got sunburned once when I was alive, and it was miserable. So I'd like to kind of just like maybe knock the sunscreen off the counter a little bit. Maybe like, hey, don't forget this on your way out, or like push it closer to like Sigmund's keys, like sunscreen.
Okay. Yeah. Spoiler alert: you were the Coppertone baby.
Bringing that joke back.
It's a callback. Go ahead and roll that d20 for Poltergeist.
Poltergeist. That's a 16.
A 16. That is, in fact, you are in remembrance of what happened with the previous evening, is still within the same success threshold. So that's an 18, but you managed to exert that control. Oh, kitty cat, hello.
A child.
It's a kitty cat.
Now
bird.
imagine that going
Okay.
backwards up a wall.
No.
True
Only
feels-
once.
true
Tesla
fears
would
realized.
never.
That's a good name.
Very good.
So you managed to exert a limited amount of control over the object.
Yay.
Gain control of an object for a few seconds. So we'll go ahead and say that you managed to push the bottle of sunscreen closer to the keys. And Xander and Sigmund both see this. They see the bottle of sunscreen, and they're like, must have been an earthquake. So who would you like to positively influence with this action?
I think Xander needs a happy morning about that. He had a bad night last night.
Okay. So you would like to impart joy?
Yeah,
You
give
would
him
like to-
some joy.
Okay.
Poor boy. I got a 4 on a d6.
Okay. That is less than where he currently is for happiness. So it is. Yeah, you think it's like, okay, it's, yeah, I don't want to get burned. I guess that's cool. Dad's Nicolas Cage impression is terrible. So it didn't seem to have much effect, unfortunately. The repercussion.
Uh-oh. The tigers eat him! Sorry.
The smell of sunscreen just drove the tigers nuts. Let's go ahead and say that it is Sigmund. He is, yeah, I'm picking on him, sorry. He is kind of frustrated that, it's like if these ghosts are trying to, there's obviously ghosts. Like there's ghosts. He's kind of scared of them, but there's obviously ghosts. If these ghosts are trying to be a positive influence, no, they haven't harmed us, but they're not really doing much to be of any assistance. They're just kind of faffing about. Sorry, that popped in. Russell, you'll love that when you see it. Yeah, so he's going to be a little bit harder to positively influence on the next roll. So who would you like to positively influence?
I think Xander needs some courage today. Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
He's getting happier. Maybe I'll get braver.
that's fair. You're trying to make him less scared of the ghosts. Okay, so go ahead and roll that d6.
The d6, not the d. 6.
6. All right. So he saw that it was a beneficial effect that, the bottle of sunscreen moved. He doesn't want to get burned. That's something. It's unexpected and startling, but it's it's not a cat climbing up the walls. So it's you think that you've helped assuage his fears somewhat as far as ghosts are concerned.
And I totally tag along to the zoo if I can.
That's where we're going next. All right. It happens to be that the reason that Sigmund wanted to go to the zoo is because Nicolette did a favor for one of the people that works at the gate and got a bunch of discount coupons. So she actually handed out a bunch of discount coupons for everybody in the building. So this particular Sunday afternoon, the entire building happens to be at the zoo. Wandering around, looking at their favorite exhibits. Cam, of course, loves the lemurs. Victor is all about the hippopotamus just because he thinks it's hilarious when they poop. Nicolette is actually, believe it or not, super into snakes. She's in the reptile house. Xander and Sigmund are in the marsupial exhibit looking at koala bears. Because the smell of eucalyptus is pleasant. Okay. So that's our scene. We're going to get each of you to do an influence. Violet, you'll go last since you just went. Each of you to influence someone of your choice in this scene. You can exert whatever kind of influence you would like at this haunted zoo. Spoon. Can't hear you, bud. Okay, next person while we figure that out. No? Okay. Nope. Got nothing.
Hello?
Yeah, there we go.
I literally,
You
it
got
said input device, Yeti microphone, and it wasn't doing anything, and I clicked on it again, and I guess that fixed it.
Did you turn it off and turn it on again?
Literally. I have a legitimate question with how ghosts work. Does this mean we're haunting the people and not the building? Because technically speaking, we shouldn't be able to leave the building. Just as a lore nerd, I'm just curious.
Have you seen I forget what movie it is, the Ricky Gervais film where he can
I haven't
see...
seen many.
Okay. There's a film with Ricky Gervais where he can just see ghosts wherever they are, and it is his purpose to, or he just figures out it's his purpose to help ghosts into the ever after because they're there for unfinished business. So he helps them out. They're not tied to a specific location, so it's that's kind of the philosophy I was going with, is that they're haunting the city. Let's put it that way.
That's perfect. Spoon, to no one's surprise, will float over. It's kind of been following.
Okay.
He's very much taken a liking to them. And he's just kind of floating with them, and he notices that they really seem into the lemurs.
Ring-tailed lemurs, yeah.
They're very good. And he's gonna look at if there's any carts with balloons, if there's any lemur-shaped balloons.
There is a sorry for those of you who are terrified of them. There is a clown who is making balloon animals and is handing them out. They are helium-filled balloon animals, so they do float. But yeah, he's not like the super made up like it clown. It's more of a dude in like the powdered tuft on the side, and he's got the red nose. He doesn't really have much of the makeup. He's just like, got the clown shift. Got the clown shift at the zoo today. Drew the short straw.
Is there like does he have like ones that are like ready to hand out?
Oh yeah, there's bunches.
Does he have one that looks like a leaf?
Yeah, there is. There's one that's it's actually one of the more well done balloons. The tail on the lemur is done in different colors, so it's alternating colors to look like the ringtail. Yeah, so there's a balloon lemur.
Okay, so what Spoon wants to do is that he wants to kind of go over to that, and he wants to see if he can kind of get the balloon, maybe like he doesn't want to hurt anyone, clearly. He just really wants to get that balloon and kind of move it over to Cam as if it's being blown over by the wind. Because he knows that Cam would really like that lemur balloon, and he just wants to see Cam smile.
So Spoon reaches out and grabs a hold of this this balloon ribbon and attempts to move it over to Cam. Go ahead and roll me a d20.
Okay. 12?
A 12. You somewhat pass through the ribbon. You kind of are able to grab it. It's difficult because you're far away from the building, which is where you typically go, but you're just out of your element per se. It's been a long time since you went to the zoo. You're kind of distracted. There's a lot of cool stuff. That reptile house really looks awesome. You reach out and you manage to kind of grasp the ribbon, and it kind of flutters into Cam's line of sight. And Cam kind of looks and sees the lemur balloon. There is a development and a repercussion for this. So what is the development?
He just wants Cam to have that balloon.
So you're trying to make Cam happy?
I'm trying to make Cam happy.
Go ahead and roll a d6.
It's a 5.
That is at or above. So Cam sees the lemur balloon and a smile spreads across their face, and fishes, the way too exorbitant price for a balloon animal out of their pocket, and pays the man for the balloon and grabs the lemur balloon. So that has influenced their happiness. A little brightness has come into their eyes. They seem to have a brighter outlook on life. Yeah.
I just want Cam to be happy.
You should want everybody to be happy.
I mean, I do, but I really like Cam.
Sure. So
my mom was an architecture. She has an architecture degree.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
My mom is a seamstress.
My mom is.
Excuse me. So the repercussion is that when you moved the ribbon, it, as sometimes happens with balloons, they can develop static electricity. And the rest of the balloons get buffeted by a little bit of breeze, and then static electricity sparks from balloon to balloon to balloon to balloon and pops every single remaining balloon on the cart. This is somewhat startling for Cam. They are going to be more difficult to influence in a positive manner on the next influence roll, just because they're concerned. That was a concerning thing that happened. All right. Next person up. Ghost up. Who's gonna tackle the next person? Not actually tackle them, unless you roll poorly. All right, Clyde.
I'm gonna go after Victor.
Victor. All right. Victor is like whistling atonally as he is watching this hippopotamus. He's well outside of the splash zone, but there's that little kid that doesn't know what's about to happen. And Victor has this like quiet glee in his heart of like, oh man, this is going to be so good. And sure enough, the kid doesn't actually get sprayed with this. Just, it's like if you don't know what hippopotamus do, when they poop. Have you ever been up against a dragon in D&D? How they have a breath weapon? It's like a 30-foot cone. Yeah. It's like that. So, poop jokes. Got one in. Yeah, so Victor is just watching this and having a great time. There is the smell of something amazing. Roasted hazelnuts. They do roasted hazelnuts in a cart, and they do it almost like a fresh popped Cracker Jacks, or like they make it fresh on site. And he's like, "Oh man, I gotta have me some of them Cracker Jacks. Oh, they're so good. They're so good." And he like looks down into his wallet and he's like, "Oh man, I don't know if I have enough." And he's debating whether or not it's worth it to go over to the Cracker Jack box. And of course, the hippopotamus is right there, and other animals are around, and there's various things. So, what would you like to do?
Is it possible to possess other people that are not part of the household?
I will go ahead and say yes. We already established it with the cat. So you are attempting to exert influence on a human being. While it might not necessarily have negative consequences on them, if you roll poorly, it will have a negative consequence on the person that you're trying to influence.
Cool. I just want to have somebody in line just happen to buy 2. Oh my gosh. And hey, you look hungry.
Okay.
Let's have some free hazelnuts.
Awesome. So that is going to be a D20 possession roll.
$19.
19?
Pink didn't fail me. 19.
19. All right. You you managed to gain limited control, so they they're ordering one. I'd like one order. I would like 2 orders of Cracker Jacks.
Hey, I'd like 2 orders of Cracker Jacks.
There we go. Sorry, I should have let you do it. Yeah, so they pay for the second order of Cracker Jacks, and you have control for another few seconds.
Hey, stoner kid, you look hungry. Hazelnuts?
You are the best right now, thanks. And right as he grabs the bag, the person kind of shakes their head, and you come back out of the person's skull. Excuse you? What's happening? Oh, you gave me some hazelnuts, bro. It's like you read my mind. It was awesome. Do I know you? No, man. You're just, kindness for a stranger. I guess this is weird. Yeah, man, that's been happening a lot lately. It's kind of strange. That's okay. So there is going to be a repercussion, but 2 developments. So what was the first development that you would like to occur? What kind of influence?
Can I have I don't know if this is a thing. Can Victor share his hazelnuts with Cam? Is that a thing that I can... No?
It is absolutely a thing that you can
do.
You can cause the action to create positive influence from one resident to another. So that's what you would like to do. So go ahead and roll a d6 to see if he can locate his sibling.
6. I am... Yeah.
Boom. Lemurs are right there next to the hippopotamus. Great. So goes over and is like, "Hey Cam, I figured you were kind of hungry, so I graciously spent the last of my funds to buy you some hazelnuts." Cam, Thanks. Reaches out and grabs and takes a handful of hazelnuts, and it works out. So that is going to positive influence. So you can choose. Is that going to spark joy? Is that going to assuage their fear of ghosts? I know which way I would lean, but
I'm gonna say joy. I mean, ghosts weren't involved in this transaction. Human kindness was.
all right. So that same spark of life that has been inhabiting Victor's eyes for the last couple weeks since his interaction with Nicolette appears on Cam's face as well. That, it's pretty awesome that the ghosts are weird, but not terrible. Life is good. Life is good right now. Life isn't always great, but right now life is good. You have, unless something dire happens, Cam is pretty firmly in the happy camp. So, well done. Next. Hester.
I want to influence Nicolette.
Okay. So, as you heard, Nicolette is in the reptile house, and she has decided that she might as well splurge and get a pressed penny. She hasn't gotten the anaconda pressed penny yet, so that's what she's really hoping for. She's already got several coral snakes. She's got a couple of cobras. She only has one other ball python, but the anaconda, she hasn't gotten an anaconda yet. And it's random, this machine. It's one of those, like, they figured out that it's a lot more efficient to do it that way and milk more money out of people doing it by defacing government property than allowing somebody to choose it themselves. So, how are you choosing to influence this scene?
Is there a way that I can finagle the machine to give her an anaconda?
There is absolutely a way to do so by making a poltergeist roll. You are attempting to exert physical influence on an object.
16?
A 16. You are able to gain control of an object for a few seconds. So we'll go ahead and say it has the desired effect, that you manage to move the tumbler in whatever mysterious way that the machine needs to move in order to land on the thing that she wants. And out pops an anaconda coin, and she is absolutely thrilled. This is going to have 1 repercussion and 2 developments. So what development would you like?
I want to I want to make her like Ghost more, give her more courage.
Okay. It's going to be difficult because she's still pretty terrified of ghosts, and there wasn't really an indication that a ghost was involved with this particular interaction. She believes it's luck, but it is within the realm of possibility.
And a 4?
That is greater than or equal to the results. So you've managed to... Maybe she saw a little bit of... she thought that you were an attendant standing behind the machine. And, you kind of reached out towards the machine. And as soon as you did that, she, did the crank and the anaconda popped out and she looks up and you're gone. So she saw an apparition, but then immediately a good thing happened. There's kind of a Pavlovian effect with this. So she is encouraged a bit. You find that her fear of ghosts has gone down just a tiny bit. She's less apprehensive. That being said, the ghosts are happening outside of her building now. That's a first, and she's never experienced that before. It is going to be more difficult to make a positive influence on her for the next time somebody tries to do so. It could be you right now, but the next time somebody tries to positively influence her, it's going to be more difficult. What's your second development?
I want to lessen negative influence of the next one.
Okay, so that is this roll. So what you are trying to do is swing it in the exact opposite direction. You want to make it easier to positively influence or make it more difficult to negatively influence her?
Make it more difficult to negatively influence her.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a d6.
3.
That is equal to or greater than her courage. So that is going to do that. That's going to be... She is somewhat heartened by she got what she's been looking for, like that thing that completes her collection, and now she's got to go on to the marsupials and get that that kangaroos or marsupials, right? I don't know. Yeah, okay, great. She wants a kangaroo real bad. What are you looking at me for?
Kangaroos, marsupials.
I don't know. They're kick beasts.
They
That's the only
have
thing I know about them.
pouches.
They
have pouches.
Pouch thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the pouch. It's the,
All right.
that's
It's
the whole
like
thing.
asking if possums are marsupials.
Today I learned.
I'm gonna fight you.
Okay, that's fine. So it will be more difficult, or it's not going to be as easy to negatively influence her. She's not going to be as affected by a negative influence the next time around. Let's put it that way. Cool. So that's that. And Violet, it's your turn at the zoo.
Yeah. What are Xander and Sigmund doing?
They were near the marsupials. They
All right.
Koala bears and
Yeah, the
kangaroos
happy
and-
koalas. I want like to possess one of the koalas, make it get up, real close and like wave.
That's adorable. Okay, roll that d20.
Okay.
All I can imagine is the grizzly bear doing this while he's like sitting on his haunches, just like he's like flapping his arm, and I'm like, "You're a good baby."
Got a 17.
A 17. So you managed to take brief control over the koala bear, and it sidles on up to the edge of the enclosure and kind of like and Xander and Sigmund kind of like look at each other, look at the koala bear, look at each other, look at the koala bear, and the koala bear is like climbs back up and puts a leaf in his mouth and just climbing and holding on to that leaf.
You know what they say about koala bears? They eat, shoot, and leave. They eat, shoots, and leaves.
J'approve. I'm a dad joke connoisseur, so well done. Yeah, so there's going to be 2 developments and a repercussion. What development would you like?
I think that should make Xander happy. He's all sunscreened up. He's feeling pretty brave, I think. Like, let's see if he can be happier.
He is already pretty happy, so it's going to be a challenge to get him happier. But this was an encouraging event that a koala bear waved hello to him.
Ooh, how about a 6?
Well done. There is a look in Xander's eyes. And there's a reason that they went to go see the koala bears first in the exhibit. It was his mother's favorite animal. So, getting a tiny koala bear to wave hello at him banishes the thought of the dream that he had the night before. And he kind of understands that it wasn't his fault. And that spark of life enters his eyes. Unless something terrible happens. It's going to be pretty hard to drive it back down the other direction.
Congrats, Kyle. You got me to cry during this stream.
Same hat, Caden. Yeah, so there's that. Now there is a repercussion, unfortunately. Sigmund also remembers that it was his wife's favorite animal. I give it, then I take it away. He is reminded of the fact that she is no longer with them. And it's going to be more difficult to positively influence Sigmund the next time somebody tries to do so.
All right.
What is your other development?
Yeah, I wanna... Ooh, okay. I want, well, Sigmund is kind of... but Xander is really happy, so I want Xander to positively influence his dad.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a d6.
5!
Okay. That is more than Sigmund's current joy. Quite a bit more than.
Oh no.
So
Poor Sigmund.
Xander's like, Dad, you saw that? I think she was saying hi. And Sigmund just sees the joy and the heart that his son has, and is reminded that while she's no longer with them, that he still has his son, and some of his sadness goes away. So, that was the zoo. We still have 2 people left that have that need to listen to some Pharrell, and we will move back into the apartment. When they come back, they see that they can't quite get to the street that the apartment building's on, because there's a lot of cars. And they hear sirens. It seems that someone, don't know who, had a fire hazard happen. And it didn't get caught until it had spread pretty quickly. Not all of the rooms are damaged. Not all of the rooms are, it's still a livable building as soon as the people clear away and the news crews depart, and the water kind of dries from the side of the building. It appears that the fire started in Nicolette's office. A candle warmer was left plugged in. You get so excited to go see your favorite snacks and think about booping them that you just forget about the Sensi in favor of the Snakey.
I feel personally called out by that.
Do you have Sensis? I don't know.
Jenny and I burn incense, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm referring to like the candle wax warmers, so you're safe.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Here we go. So yeah, Nicolette is pretty gutted by the fact that all of the records that she had and the other pennies were in her office. So they weren't in her room, which is weird, but it was more readily accessible because the pennies brought her joy, so she kept them where she worked. It was more difficult. So Nicolette is kind of rummaging, meandering about in the common room. And, Victor's like, oh, well, at least it wasn't one of mine. Oh, we'd have been kicked out like so fast. And Cam's like, shut up. Shut your terrible mouth. And Xander and Sigmund are, they were concerned seeing the fire, seeing the smoke, that something would have been damaged. It wasn't. None of their stuff was damaged, but it does appear that the water cannons were on the same side of the building, with the office as Victor and Cam's apartment. So Cam's computer is pretty well ruined. Stuff was saved on a flash drive, so work isn't lost, but it is going to be pinching pennies to try to, get back to where they had it. Probably some trips to the library to work on homework, use a public computer. So we've got a couple of different scenes happening with Xander and Sigmund going through and just being thankful that their apartment wasn't torched, and Nicolette kind of lamenting her lapse in judgment, and Cam just frustrated at the loss of their computer. So, who would like to influence who?
The cat would like to influence Lindy.
Oh, that's just the most adorable thing. Okay.
I love your cat.
Clyde.
Yeah.
Who would you like to influence?
I feel really bad for Nicolette. I'm gonna try.
Okay. So as she is searching the remains of her office for any potential chance that the penny collection is intact. The room is still structurally sound. It was just torched by flame. Is on the ground floor, so there's a concrete floor, so there's no danger of her falling through to the basement. It's, you know, the firefighters cleared it. She's kind of looking around and, you know, thanking the powers that be that, you know, records are digital now, that things are being paid online, and she recently upgraded. So what kind of influence would you like to have on Nicolette?
Dude, I'm gonna try to find her pennies.
Okay. Go ahead and how are you trying to help her find her pennies?
So like I can like phase through stuff, so can I like try to find them by phasing through things and like see? I bother Nicolette a lot, so
Sure. Let's see. Go ahead and roll me a d20.
I will take a picture of this as a natural 20.
I believe you. That's fine.
Big
So-
dice, thank you.
You know exactly where she had kept her penny collection, because you had spent plenty of time haunting that office, trying to get her to be happy and be less afraid of ghosts. So, without any effort whatsoever, you managed to phase through a filing cabinet, a metal filing cabinet that had the wooden case that all the pennies were in, and you what do you do with the case? Lost you.
Can I punch out the drawer so it opens?
You absolutely can.
Yes.
So taking the case in hand, you kind of you grasp firmly, and you're like, oh dang, this is gonna work. And you ram your head against the inside of the drawer, and it pops open. And the clasp on the case kind of breaks because it's been weakened by heat, and the pennies kind of pop out into the drawer that's in there. And she hears this and is, goodness. Looks over into the filing cabinet and sees these pennies. So you're trying to make her happy. Go ahead and roll the d6.
Three.
That meets. She picks up the pennies one by one and lays them out on the charred remains of her desk, and puts the anaconda right next to a thoroughly slagged king cobra and a slightly flame burnished ball python, and the several of the other snake that I mentioned that I can't recall. Caden, you would be the person I would suspect that would remember.
Do you want me to list off snakes? I can.
No, it's fine. I just thought you might know off the top of your head.
There was a coral snake.
Coral snake, thank you.
Coral, yeah. You could have done. You could have
And a ball python.
You could have done a reticulated
Yes.
python. You could have done a hognose. You could have done a king snake. You could have done a rat snake. I'm sorry.
I wasn't gonna hurt a hognose. I'm not gonna do that.
Hognose snakes are the cutest.
Little boop snoot. So she puts it down in the collection and kind of sighs contentedly with herself, and looks at the drawer, and puts her hand inside the drawer to explore around. You have another development. What would you like to do?
Is there any way that I can make my presence known?
You can. Would you like to physically appear? Would you like to speak? Would you like to move another object like you just did?
Can I speak?
Sure. What effect are you going for with this speech that you're making?
Sorry about this. Good thing I told you to make all that stuff digital.
Go ahead and are you trying to encourage? Are you trying to bring happiness? Encourage. Okay. Go ahead and roll me a d6.
Now I know what you remind me of. You sound like Bartok from Anastasia.
I was going for Dan Avedon's dad.
Yep, also Avi. You also sound like Avi. That also makes a lot of fucking sense. When you did that
6.
That very well beats it. So we are going to move. She was startled by the drawer popping open, but seems to have calmed down, especially with the fact that her collection is mostly intact, but is all there, and you obviously were the source of that. So she will, a small smile comes across her face, and she says, "Thank you." That's that scene. Still have some work to do on Nicolette. Who would like to influence? Really, I mean, we're coming down to the wire here, so we're going to go ahead and say Sigmund and Nicolette are the two that are holding us back from
Sad dad and landlady.
victory or defeat. So, who's on sad dad duty? Duty.
I mean, I feel like I kind of have a corner in that market just as a person. So, I'll help Sad Dad.
Sad dad. Spoon for sad dad.
Get to that dad.
So, Xander and Sigmund are in their apartment, and they are looking around, and Sigmund smells, the smoke, of course, but nothing, no water damage, no actual fire damage. Their room was above the flames, which smoke, but no actual heat. They got to it in time. Xander is just like talking to his dad, just a mile a minute of like, that was so cool. Thanks for taking me to the zoo. That was just like the best way to spend a Sunday. Oh, I have homework. And goes into his room and starts working on his homework. And Sigmund kind of sits down on the couch and starts to look at the Sunday funnies that his son was looking at. And cracks open a beer and starts to sip at it, and is just reading the Sunday funnies, sipping a beer, thinking about his son, thinking about what happened with the koala, whatever happened with the koala. That weird. So Spoon, how are you choosing to influence this scene?
I can't decide whether I want to try to just make him know my voice, or like hear my voice, or if I want to try to like write it out. But
there is a pen on the coffee table.
okay. Is there a piece of paper? Or is there like just paper there?
Yes, there is some scratch paper. There's a couple of Post-it notes. He had been, since the newspaper's right there, the classifieds are right there. He has a couple of spots circled carefully, because ballpoint pen will just rip right through newspaper. Yeah, there's some paper.
So he's gonna find the biggest space he can to write in, and he's just gonna try to pick up the pen and write, "She's proud of you."
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a d20.
$17.
Okay. The paper that you choose to write this on, the pen lifts up, and you manage to write out, "She's proud," before the pen kind of slips out of your hands and you try to grab it again, and it rolls off the table and away. What kind of development are you wanting to instill?
I don't know if this fits the perimeter. What he's trying to do, his intent behind this, is to kind of put him at ease. Just kind of try to reinforce good memories.
Okay.
Of her.
I will say that you are trying to make it easier for positive influence to happen on Sigmund.
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll a d6. A 2. That is not beneath his current joy. That meets his current joy. So he kind of nods and is still weirded out by the fact that this pen moved all on its own, but this has been happening way too much for it to be coincidence.
He wishes he could have put a little heart.
There is a little bit of sadness on his face because he would have hoped that the message said, "I'm proud of you," but ghosts are still new to him. He's not sure, but he is encouraged by the message. You can tell that you had a positive influence, so it will be easier to make a positive influence on Sigmund. That being said, Xander, in the other room, shouts in pain. And Sigmund gets up quickly from the coffee table and off the couch and runs into his son's bedroom. And it looks like Xander was doing his homework on the bed, and something fell off of the bed, and he went down to get it, and he fell. Not sure how bad the injury is, but it does appear that he, fell off the bed, and there is an injury. Sigmund not only will be easier to influence in a positive manner, but will also be easier to discourage in a negative fashion. You can't discourage in a positive fashion, really. It doesn't work. Anyway, what is the other development that you would like to occur with this scene?
I can't.
Make
Can I-
that happy.
Yeah. I just want them to have a positive influence on each other.
So you're trying to get Xander to influence his father in a positive fashion.
Yes.
Much like happened at the zoo. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll a d6.
2.
That meets. Xander kind of brushes himself off, and he like kind of holds his wrist, and he's like, it's hurt a little bit, but I don't think it's bad. And Sigmund is like, you're okay though. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. You know, I think that whatever's happening here, they're looking out for us. I think it's a good thing. And I'm glad we moved here. And Sigmund is encouraged by what his son says, that, you know, one of the biggest doubts that he's had since he moved here is somewhat mollified, that he made the right decision in moving here, that, you know, it's bringing them closer together. They've had some positive, some negative experiences, but they've grown stronger as a unit. He is heartened by this. So some of his sadness melts away. That's it for that scene. I will say that we'll have one more scene, and depending on the effects of that scene, we're already looking pretty good, so it'll just wrap up the story in specific ways. So last scene is there's a group meeting. Nicolette has summoned everybody who is currently in the apartment building downstairs. And she is letting them know that she is sorry, that she put everyone in danger, that it was her fault, even if it was an accident, that the fire occurred. She's grateful that more wasn't lost. But she has been at this a very long time. And very recently, she has been made aware that she has not made the best decisions as far as the tenants are concerned. She's been well-intentioned, but she feels that she is missing the mark. And you, ghosts, start to get the feeling that she is inching towards making an announcement of some sort. And you can see kind of murmurs in the crowd as well. There's more than just our 4 other people down here in the lobby. That. So what, are you retiring? Are you leaving? I think that I need to. I think it's time that I moved on. I've been wanting to write a novel. I love each and every one of you, but I think it's time. I think it's time. So, with this major announcement happening that Nicolette, the most fearful person in the apartment complex, is leaving, who would like to bring encouragement or affect the scene?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a way that we all could?
Each of you roll me a d6. Let me know.
Sorry, I lost my d6.
Oh no!
Then it fell on the floor. Hold on.
The lemur ate it.
The cat hate it.
No, I got a 5.
5. Okay, next.
4.
4.
Next.
5.
Dang, these rolls. Okay.
We want to help.
Let me do a little quick math real quick.
In the meantime, we can just like wiggle at each other. Doing what goes.
Shimmy, shimmy,
Violet's
shimmy,
jumping
shimmy.
up and down, and her ghost form each time, like getting 6 inches higher off the ground because she can't see because she's in the back because she's short. She's a short ghost.
Spoon is kind of hanging out by King.
Clyde is in Spoon's hand, being like, Yorick, I knew him well.
All right. What I was looking for is an average higher score than the current needs of what the people are. So that would be average higher score than the average of, what was it? 3 and 2, that's 6. Total of 3, which you did. Discuss amongst yourselves how you, the ghosts of 428, Hallibrook, I can't remember. It's been so long. Would like to influence the tenants of this building.
I think Violet just appears as an apparition for a second, kind of just grabs Sigmund, Set Dead, and Xander's hands and just gives him a little squeeze, and then goes back away after giving him a big smile.
Okay. So I'll have you roll me a d20 and hold off on the result. Next.
I'm gonna go up to the landlady and just be like, hey, write a decent book about me and make sure it's digital just in case you leave another candle on it.
Okay, go ahead and roll a d20 and hang on to the result. Spoon, you ready?
Who's already by Cam? Gonna try to make himself seen again and say, I'm glad I caught that cup.
Okay, go ahead and roll a d20. Hold on to the results. Hester.
Who else needs to be? I'm sorry, I'm like halfway
all
out
good.
there. Who else needs to be happy?
Sigmund and Nicolette are both below the mark.
Okay, I wanna appear to Nicolette and just kind of put my hands on her shoulders and nod at her.
Okay, roll me a d20. Hold on to the result. Who got above a 10? Okay. Who of the two of you got above 16? Okay. Your collective influence will affect one of the two remaining people. Who would you like it to be?
Realistically speaking, Sigmund kind of needs it more.
That's what
Sad
I was
dad.
thinking. I think sad dad. My heart's going to say a dad.
I will also agree with Sad Dad.
Okay.
Nicolette's leaving, it's fine.
As
I'm so sorry.
did that door just open by itself?
No.
Ghost.
There's a person.
My friend's birthday just happened at midnight, and he said something about a lap dance.
Because it was very dark in that hallway, and I did not. Okay.
No, it's just my friends being foolish.
All right. So, as you are collectively influencing these people, appearing to them, speaking to them, encouraging them, towards the entrance of the building, it looks like a glint of sunlight is reflecting off of a passing car. But after the car passes, the glint still remains. And it begins to spread. It begins to, motes of small glittery light begin to circle this this brighter reflection. And the brighter reflection begins to grow. And it touches the floor as it grows. People are starting to notice. All of you have started to notice. This is weird. This is unlike any other apparition that has appeared. Once it touches the ground, that etheric kind of cloud that you disappear into when you disapparate from someplace, whatever ectoplasmic energy is occurring. It's swirling, but instead of being its typical coloration, which is kind of a gray, dull gray, it is a bright mother of pearl light. And a figure steps out of it. And the figure is dressed in business attire, hair pulled back in a bun, a single chopstick through the back, sensible. It looks like she had been... her arm had been broken. And she's walking with a bit of a limp as well. She's got a bandage over her forehead. But she's got a smile on her face. And she says, "It's time." And each of the four of you know that you have largely succeeded in your mission, that you have brought joy to a good portion of the people in this apartment complex. There's still work to be done. All wounds are not healed. But that's a job for somebody else. Your task is complete. You feel drawn towards this woman. And as you approach, you are reminded. You remember something that before you did not remember. You remember a moment of your life before you became a ghost. Violet, what do you remember?
I really want to say falling into a carbonated swimming pool of of LaCroix, but we're gonna say Violet remembers swimming at the beach, going to the beach with her family. Building sandcastles. Swim.
And sure enough, past this woman, you can hear the sound of seagulls and the crash of ocean shores. And you see the light of a mid-morning sun over the beach. So obviously it's on an east coast somewhere. And your family beckons to you. Clyde, what do you remember? I lost you.
I remember my grandson's wedding and lifting him up into a chair next to his wife as we take them out to their limousine. And I know, but they don't know yet, that the limousine's going to take them to their honeymoon that's been paid for. And we're just partying down like there's no tomorrow.
So what you see are a bride and groom seated in two chairs facing away from you. And there's somebody that you vaguely recognize. You probably remember if you spend some time and put your finger on it, beckoning towards you like, come on, this chair is not going to carry itself. Spoon, what do you remember?
He remembers.
Sorry, I'm getting emotional. Because I made myself emotional with this.
He remembers it's midday and he's in the greenhouse. He just figured out how to crossbreed a new type of mushroom for himself. Just cute, because he thinks they're cute, and he feels his husband's hand on his shoulder, telling him how proud he is of him, that all of his hard work paid off. And he can hear their dogs barking outside, and everything's okay.
And you see, beyond this woman, that one of your dogs is starting to dig through the garden. The other one has that look on his face like, I really want to join in, but I don't want to get in trouble. Because some dogs are smart like that. And you hear your husband's voice say, go get your dogs. They're at it again. Hester, what do you remember?
I remember sitting on the patio, feet up on the table, reading a passage out of my book to my wife.
What book?
His Dark Materials.
A classic. You smell the damp grass that is always present after the lawn has been cut. That fragrant vegetable smell that is sweet and kind of grassy. I've lost my thesaurus in my brain.
Earthen.
Yeah. Yes. Both of those things. Yes. Good job. You passed. You can taste the drink that you were just drinking. And you hear her voice saying, well, don't stop now. It's just getting good. And as you remember these moments, you pass from this world into what comes next. It might not be forever, but it's good. And it's what you were looking for. And that haunting came to an end. But there are others within the city. And that's going to be a wrap on the show. Thank you to everyone who stayed with us. I apologize for not doing the World Anvil giveaway. Let's go ahead and, for those of you left, I'll go ahead and say that we have a giveaway to do. It's !haunting. If you type that into chat very quickly, we will do our calculations and do our best. Apologies for that. Nerdsmith is a proud partner with World Anvil, the purveyors of the greatest and finest world building and campaign management software that exists now or ever in any world, this or the next. Sorry, Demetrius, I just really upsold you. But it's great. It's phenomenal. We use it for a couple of our products on the network to manage and build the world. It was started to help the creator's wife write her novel, and it proceeded out from there because it's just a very robust and powerful tool because he keeps developing things. It's incredible. There's constant developments going on, new iterations of the software. We have to give away a subscription tier for 6 months to World Anvil, and we can go ahead and do that. Is somebody in the? It's a 6-month master tier for the second highest tier of the World Anvil site. So feel free to you're going to enjoy that, and we'll announce that now. We'll go ahead and announce the Painted Dragon is the winner of the World Anvil subscription. So that is surprise, Finch. Hi. Can't hear you.
I didn't type anything.
Oh, well. Congratulations. It was... We also are sponsored by Die Hard Dice. As I discussed at the beginning, they make amazing designs and unique designs of metal D20s and D6s and full dice sets. Caden, I know you got some handy, right?
Oh shit! Yeah, hold up.
Yeah. Okay. Let's show those puppies off.
They're for Nathaniel Brill on Countless Heroes.
Oh, look at that. Countless Heroes, one of our other products on the network. Thank you for joining, and yep, there it is. It's gorgeous. There's lots of options available at dieharddice.com, so be sure to go check those out. They are phenomenal people, and they make phenomenal products. We stand behind them. We will be back tomorrow evening with another stream, or tomorrow afternoon with another stream, and tomorrow evening as well. This is part of the Nerdsmith sub drive, so feel free to come on back and enjoy and tell your friends and family. Bring lots of people, because the more people that we have, the better the giveaways get, even if we forget about them, evidently. That's on me. So thank you for joining us. We love you. Thank you for being part of the Nerdsmith Network, because you are part of the Nerdsmith Network as well, for enjoying our product. And if you want to subscribe, if you liked what you saw tonight and you would like to promote more of this type of product, go to nerdsmith.org/subdrive and choose a subscription tier. We appreciate anything, even if it's just word of mouth and you tell people about what's going on. We appreciate it and we love you. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for the players. Let's go ahead and remind people where we can find you on social media and the various networks and products that you do on Twitch and streaming. So let's start my top left, Caden.
Hello. Yeah, so you can find me at Fatebound Night on Twitter. I do art, a lot of D&D content, a lot of video game content. I also scream about gay shit. I also, from rare time to time, will stream art on, I think my Twitch is Eagles Piggles, I think, because that was my old name. You can also find me on Instagram under the same name, Fatebound Night. I play Nathaniel Brell, the human warlock, Pact of the Fiend, on Countless Heroes. I have a pseudo-dragon named Mags, who is the light of my life, and I used to have one eye, but now I have two. That's my story. Okay, I'm done.
No longer a Cyclops. Excellent. Lindy.
Hi, yeah, I'm Lindy. You can find me online at LaughLoveLindy on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I play in and DM a lot of tabletop RPGs on my channel. I currently have 2 weekly games going. One is Ravenloft, old 1st and 2nd edition modules brought up to 5th edition. Another one is set in Taldore. Also, we do a once-a-month Teenagers from Outer Space that is basically Saturday morning cartoons. It's hilarious, so you should come check that out as well. And yeah, just find me all over the place, Encounter Roleplay, Web DM, all that good stuff.
And Finch.
Hello. You can find me on Twitter at Killer Caffeine. You can also find me on Twitch at The Painted Dragon every Wednesday and Thursday at 7. On Wednesdays, I DM a session with some crazy mofos in a homebrew world, and on Thursdays, I do art as well as art tutorials and classes and with open chat. So if you want to know how to do something, come and see me. But yeah, so that's me.
Thank you. And Ash.
I'm on Twitter at Young Jemison, and I'm a player on Plot Hunters. We're doing Waterdeep Dragon Heist right now.
Yes. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for helping me step back into my DM pants. I didn't know that they would still fit, so
They fit well.
Thank you.
Fun.
Your ass looks
that was
amazing.
awesome.
I said that.
Much appreciated. We are we gonna raid, or are we going to we'll sign off and host some? Okay, we're just gonna sign off. So thank you everyone. Have a pleasant evening. Sorry we went over quite a bit, but it was a lot of fun. We wanted to resolve things. So we will see you tomorrow, same time and earlier, same channel. Thank you very much. No, not the same channel, different channel. Okay, we're gonna bye now. Bye now.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.